Hello, Rich. How are you?
DP, how are you?
Great. Paulie just came up with the catch rule. He simplified it in 14 words. So, Paulie, give Rich the
Let me hear it.
Your catch rule, so we can get rid of pages in the rule book here.
Here you
That'd
go,
be
Rich.
great.
All right, here we go.
Yes.
Catch the ball and get 2 feet down whilst in the field of play.
Whilst?
We're trying to embrace
Whilst?
London, Europe.
Well, now you need to figure out what is the actual catch, right? What do you describe as a catch?
Well, if you take out other language like completing the process, you also take out what happens out of bounds, which shouldn't matter. It lets
it's
the refs.
as simple as this. I've said this. You two hands or one hand on the ball, 2 feet down on the ground. That's it.
Yeah.
If you could take a snapshot of it and you've got it in possession and your 2 feet are on the ground and you lose it going to the ground, then it's a fumble, period. So the ground can cause a fumble and a catch. It can't cause a fumble and a run. In the same way that a touchdown with a run is required, all you have to do is merely crease the goal line, whereas in the end zone, right now, you've got to complete the process in the end zone. No, should you shut the play down in the end zone as soon as 2 hands are on the ball, 2 feet are on the ground. End of story. And I think you complete it, that's as simple as that, without using the word whilst, but I like that. That was very 18th century of you, Paul.
The Browns hire.
Yes.
Now, they've screwed it up every other way. I'm okay with this as somebody who can complement a coaching staff. Their issue is they can't draft, and they can't keep a coach for more than 2 years, and they don't have a quarterback. I don't know if Paul DePodesta is able to help with that, but if he can, okay, I'm fine. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I obviously, that's thinking outside the box. The problem would be is if Scott Hatterberg is their next quarterback. But I mean, the issue I see with all of this, Dan, is that who's going to be the general manager that raises his hand and says, "I'll go there and help shop for the groceries," but the guy above me, whose background is in law, gets to decide the 53-man roster and report to the owner. So I'm a general manager that chooses the groceries, but can't decide who plays on game day or have that decision. It's what it seems like to me, based on what I'm reading. So you're held accountable for the roster, but you can't fully be accounting for the roster. Yeah. And then who's the coach that would say, okay, I'm going to be having to play these guys based on analytics in a way, like, Mattingly, right? That's supposedly something that he chafed under with the Dodgers and that he's looking forward not really having to deal with in Florida. A lot of coaches just don't believe in it. But we'll see. Maybe Chip Kelly is the perfect guy for this, like the outside-box coach with the outside-the-box flow chart.
Can we take a break and bring you back? I know you got your show coming up top of the hour.
Absolutely. Please, I'd love to.
Is the Peyton Manning story over, Rich?
Which one?
The HGH.
No, I don't think so. A couple of players from baseball, Zimmerman and Ryan Howard, have sued Al Jazeera. And it's only a matter of time till we see something. It'll probably happen in the next half hour. Like, well, if they're suing him, why hasn't Peyton Manning sued them?
Yeah.
Even though Zimmerman and Howard apparently, I have not seen the Al Jazeera report. I got to be honest with you. I have read about it. I have seen pieces of it. I haven't seen the baseball portion of it. I saw just the Peyton Manning portion of it. And it appears that it's two different allegations. One is these guys did it. The other is that they think Peyton had to do it because his wife received it. And I just think there will be more and more reporting on all of this, as Peyton, I think, will now continue as the starter of the Broncos. And certainly if the Broncos make the Super Bowl, there's going to be quite a bit of that story, I think, talked Super Bowl week.
Well, you would have Brady one year, and then you'd have Peyton the next year during Super Bowl week. Although, are we – because the media went after Brady and the Patriots really hard. Are we easing off on Peyton Manning because it's Peyton Manning?
Well, it's two different things, right? I mean, one is where the NFL says they're looking into something right away, and there are letters from the league office to the Patriots saying we're looking into this right away. And the other is an Al Jazeera report that seems to have quite a few journalistic holes in it. I think those are two different things. At the time, though, I was saying I didn't think much of this Deflategate story, and I still think it's ridiculous what it got blown into, and out of proportion.
Mm-hmm.
But the news media was all over it, and there are people in the sports media who are all over it, who have different, shall we say, allegiances,
agendas.
Yeah, and I'm not one of them. I mean, if Peyton Manning took HGH, I want to know. Clearly, I mean, I'd love to know that. I don't think he did, and I don't think that based on what I saw, from Al Jazeera, you can make the open and shut case that it's done. And a lot of people from the Northeast who are howling in the same way. Remember when Michael Irvin? I always love having fun with him about don't lose that intensity, the same intensity he wanted from the media after he was exonerated. Everybody from the New England area who thinks that Brady was wronged, and I think he was in many ways, saying, where's the same intensity? Well, I'm sitting here saying that if the league is looking into it, I'd love to know. And if Manning did it, I'd also love to know. But if his wife had it, then who the hell are we to try and find out why his wife got it? That's a totally personal matter that we have no business knowing that, if this is in fact the case.
The most interesting job opening is where?
I think it's got to be the Giants. I mean, that's a rarity to open up. I mean, and you've got an ownership that's very patient. I mean, I know Coughlin, it looks like his feathers were a bit ruffled, clearly, and you can't blame him for having hard feelings that something's over. But there were many times where the Giants could have gone ahead and shown him the door, and they kept him many times when he was on the hot seat, many times. So you've got a patient ownership. You've got a quarterback who is in an argument in the Hall of Fame discussion with a few years left under his belt, and in the money division, as they say, in the NFC. I think that's fascinating to me.
Here's my problem with the Tom Coughlin situation. The whole scenario here is he deserved to get fired.
You can absolutely, you're absolutely right about that.
I mean, he missed the playoffs in 6 of the last 7 years. The last 3 years, I know he won Super Bowls, and I do think he's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yes,
but I'm just surprised at the outpouring of, and not just his players. I understand they like him, but the media. Tom is going to take the blame. Jerry Reese, their GM, can take the blame too. They didn't do a good job, and I don't have any problem with them showing Tom Coughlin the door here.
I don't either. I just think a lot of people are saying, hey, here's a 69-year-old man who's at the end of his career and stands for something in a business that there isn't a lot of people who stand for something, and he's got an old school mentality. I think that's what people are saying right now about how it's a shame that he's not there. But absolutely, I mean, the results are the results, and I was one. The thing that really shocked me, certainly, and as Coughlin as well as anybody, when he didn't pull Odell Beckham from that Carolina game and said, I wanted to win.
He was coaching for his job.
There's no doubt. There's no question about that. There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
If I gave you a new Super Bowl pick,
yes.
Well, maybe you like your old one. I don't know.
No, it was the Colts, and it was the Colts in Seattle. So I'm going to stick with Seattle.
Okay,
I'm going to stick with them, and then if I had the AFC one, man, that one is so unpredictable. But if Manning is healthy, I'm going to go with Denver. Unless New England survives their divisional playoff game. I know that that is mealy-mouthed and not sitting on the fence as possible. But New England, that divisional playoff game concerns me because they will get all their pieces back. How rusty will they all be? Can it be just like riding a bicycle for Manning? For Brady and for Edelman and for all the defenders who come back, potentially against Kansas City, which is, the team that sent them on to Cincinnati. That one would concern me for New England. But if they get past that and look good, I think New England can make the Super Bowl. But if pressed right now as you're doing, I'll take Denver versus Seattle. in San Francisco.
All right.
Now, driving in, Dan, I heard that I have a very important responsibility at the draft next year.
Yes.
Coming up.
Big,
huge responsibility.
Okay.
And as you know, now, so I have to say the words J.J. Watt in reference to Joey Bosa within 2 minutes time.
No. You have to do your job. But we did mention. Okay, here's the bet. Paulie thinks that when Joey Bosa, the defensive end for Ohio State, is drafted, we will hear the name comparison. Reminds me of video of J.J. Watt.
Right.
And if that doesn't happen, then Paulie has to spin the wheel of death, and then he dies.
Well, here's the way it usually goes. Somebody gets drafted, then Mayock has the floor. And Mayock usually has the floor anywhere between 45 to 60 seconds. And then it's usually, could be Mariucci. Last couple of years we've had David Shaw of Stanford sitting on our set. Could be him. Mm-hmm. So it's potentially out of my hands. As you know, I have in the past brought a grilled cheese on the set just as a shout-out for you on Thursday Night Football. So, I've been there, done that.
I don't want it fixed, though, Rich. I don't. Paulie this is like tampering. This is insider trading.
I hear you.
Yes,
okay,
Paulie.
We can't have that.
I'm going to ask Rich, be objective here. Assuming you tee nobody up in that direction, which side of the bet with you and the ESPN would you bet on? Is J.J. Watt's name, image, B-roll on the screen?
I'd go with the worldwide leader. I'd go with the worldwide leader. If you're talking about low-hanging fruit, and the reason for that is Mayock despises low-hanging fruit. Mayock thinks if it's low-hanging fruit, he's not touching it. That's why I always bring up Tim Tebow to him.
I love draft trash talk. This is good. Eat it, Berman.
True. What? No, I'm now, wait a minute. Hang on a minute.
That's what I thought you said.
I'm talking about Mayock. We take our cue from Mayock.
Okay.
And Mayock is not a low-hanging fruit guy. He's not that. If he thinks Bosa reminds him of Mario Williams, he'll say it. If he thinks he reminds him of J.J. Watt, he'll say it. So I can't. It's kind of not my table, is what I'm saying. And if you're telling me not to insert myself, because clearly I can, I won't do that.
It has to come from somebody other than you and Chris Berman.
Okay.
Yes, Paulie, I just called it. Yes.
Dan, you're narrowing down this bet where I should just kill myself now.
No, I need to build up here. We need to build it up. Okay, here's the other thing. Paxton Lynch.
Yes.
Brock Osweiler.
Oh, tall quarterbacks.
Eddie Lacy. Derrick Henry.
Oh, I think actually Derrick Henry, you're going to hear Brandon Jacobs.
Oh, that's what Paulie said. Paulie just had a walk-off.
Love Rich Eisen. Love Rich.
You're going to hear Brandon Jacobs.
Okay, here's the bet. Here's the bet. Do we hear Brandon Jacobs comparison or Eddie Lacy with Derrick Henry? Which comes first?
I don't know. The draws, drawing school to school is it's so enticing. It's so enticing, but I think with Mayock again, he doesn't go conventional. He goes next level, and I think he's going to go. If I had to guess, you'll hear Brandon Jacobs. But there's a lot of time between now and then.
All right,
well, you got the combine coming up. I don't think Derrick Henry will be in that, but
I'm going to bet you dinner. I'll bet you dinner, but you can't bring it up.
Okay.
How about this? That our bet is based on ESPN's take on that draft pick of Derrick Henry.
Clearly, I'm going to have to depend upon your accounting of it.
Now, I normally I don't watch it because I'm watching the NFL Network.
I like that, Dan.
We'll DVR that.
This Sunday, though, Dan, it's like an Anchorman rumble in the alleyway.
A little bit there.
Well, no, hold on a minute. You've never had a Sunday morning game on a playoff, right? This is your first, isn't it?
Well, it starts at 1, right?
You mean you don't have your schedule yet? They haven't sent your schedule for Sunday to you yet, or you're just taking it one show at a time?
I'm taking it one show at a time. We have dinner Saturday night where we're going to go over the show.
Oh, don't go too hard, though, Dan. Trust me, that Sunday morning comes up fast.
Well, you're West Coast early.
Yeah, I know, but it's still fast.
Look, when I wake up next to Peter King, we get to the studio at the same time.
You're gonna.
We share. We're bunking. Peter and I. Florio, Florio wanted to, but I said no.
Okay.
Hey, these rights fees are so expensive. We had to We had to double up here. Who's on the show coming up in 14 minutes from now?
Dabo Swinney, Dre Kirkpatrick, and Eric Davis coming up.
Nice.
Right here on the Rich Eisen.
Rich Eisen show coming up at the top of the hour.
Have a good dinner.
Go easy on me on Sunday morning.
Oh no! Listen, I just take it one segment at a time, Dan.
Nice.
It's just any other show. It's sort of like Hoosiers. The measurement between the camera and the desk is the same, but I'll know that you're out there lurking.
Thank you.
I'll know it.
Thank you, Rich.
You got to take it.
That's Rich Eisen.